it's time to take ourselves and place us back into the far-flung past of 2008.
Ugh.
I was fresh out of high school, starting college for the first time.
I was in my second year of college. I was working at GameStop.
A woefully inadequate 18-year-old.
I mean, I'm still a woefully inadequate person. I'm 31, so
Let's remember the times back then. Everything seems so much brighter.
We had
I was younger.
Hope and change, and now we have this. I'm depressed now. I don't know that we should even do this podcast.
All right, thanks for listening. We'll see you next week.
Yep. Anyway, 2008 was a better time.
And it was also a time when the game we are talking about today came out.
Yeah, it's true.
So, hello, welcome to this week's episode of the Seasonal Anime Checkup, OVA. It's a podcast where we have conversations about video games, anime, and manga. Hello, I'm Jared, joined as always by Doc Al and Ladium.
Hello.
And we're traveling back to 2008 to talk about this video game, which just got a re-release in the year of our Lord Chica, 2019.
Our Lord Chica.
Almost 10 years after the fact. 10 and a half-ish. We're talking about Tales of Vesperia. A game that is, in retrospect, it's a strange game in the essence that it was initially an Xbox 360 exclusive JRPG.
Yeah, there were very few of those.
Yeah, in the time when, you look back at when this came out, it would be like, what? This, Lost Odyssey, Blue Dragon.
Eternal Sonata.
Did that come out on 360?
Yeah, it was 360 exclusive and then came out on PS3 later.
Okay. So yeah, obviously, the torrid history of the 360 and Microsoft in general in Japan meant that, a lot of stuff like this didn't happen. There's not a lot of Japanese exclusive made games for the 360. Obviously this came out a year later on the PS3 with its own definitive edition, but that never came out over here. So us over here only got the 360 version as well as Europe. So that was all we knew.
I also just want to say, though, that 3 of the 4 exclusive games were freaking phenomenal, though.
Yeah, no one really likes Lost Odyssey. Except us when we did an episode about it.
Fight me! Love that game.
It's really good.
This one is too.
Yes. I feel like we have to start off this episode by talking about one of the first things you see when you boot this game up, and that is the opening, which I'm gonna. This is gonna be such a hot take.
Hot take.
Top 5 best JRPG openings. This is included.
It is or it is not?
This is. Maybe if we're talking of the past 10, 15 years, so we're not stepping on any toes because there's a wide variety, but I'd say in the past 10, 15 years, this is top 5. You'd put this, P3, P4, Xanadu, and then something else.
Oh, Xanadu's. There are some JRPGs that the opening gets me super hyped. This is one of them.
Yes.
It's kind of at the same level of what Final Fantasy VIII's opening did for me. The first time I ever saw that, I was just yes, let's do this. And it was the same way here. And it's a good way to start it. Holy crap, man.
It's incredible. I remember hearing it a lot because I would just let the game loop when I was finishing up recording videos of it. So I heard it. I heard it a lot.
Oh yeah.
But it never diminished the goodness of it. So also they never use it in the actual game. They just use it for the opening. But the instrumental version they use throughout the latter half of the game is so good. So good.
So when you first played this game,
Mhm.
you did like a let's play, right?
I did, yeah. Because I bought the game for my 360 and just never got around to playing it. So I was like, well, I'll just do it for YouTube because that would be a way for me to actually get to play it and actually get around to playing it. So that's what I did. It was one of the first games I did for YouTube. Which going back and like watching some of those videos, it's like who. It's also weird because like you can definitely tell there's a distinct like bump up in quality by the end of it. Like so like the first episodes are really strange in general because I vividly remember this is like I had a better setup than what I had previously, which was just like I was like, oh, well, use a webcam and all this and use the webcam mic. Not great.
Yeah.
By this point I had upgraded to like a lavalier mic, which was okay, but like not great because like it would pick up a lot of like outside sounds and all that. But when I went to record the first time, which was like an hour and a half of footage, and that would be cut up into like 6 parts, for whatever reason, my capture hardware just decided not to record my commentary audio, so I had to re-record the commentary audio.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, that was that's one of those things that happens, and it happened specifically on that. So like I always remember that as like that's the beginning of my Vesperia run is playing it and then be like, well, I gotta re-record this, and it's super weird because I'm talking over stuff that's already happened, and I can't replicate any of it. So that was a thing.
So you did this in 2014, you said?
Yeah.
That was the first time you played it?
Mhm.
Okay. So I guess for listener context, you played it first in 2014.
Yes.
I played it in 2008. You have beat the re-release. And I have not beat the re-release.
True.
Because it's a great game. It's a long game. It takes a lot of time.
Yeah, like my final hour count was like at 30. So like not terrible, but like also still like, it's a JRPG, so. But also it's helped that like, you get items and DLC items off the bat that like can just bump you up to level 50. So you can just like cruise through 3/4 of that game, yeah. So yeah, like this is the definitive edition that just recently came out. It includes like all the DLC that the PS3 port had, and then all that's like included free, and then there's some downloadable stuff you can get as well, but like all of it's free and included and everything. We should talk about a little bit about what's included in the new stuff that was like included in the PS3 version. Which that version came out basically a year after the fact. So probably just Microsoft had like a year-long exclusivity deal.
It was kind of the same with like Eternal Sonata. They like had 360 and then it came out on the PS3 later with extra content.
Right. The PS3 apparently has full voice acting, which the 360 didn't, and is also like double the size of the script of the original 360 version. You get new characters that you can play as. Flynn comes in, you can customize them and all that. And then they added a new character by the name of Patty. She's a little young girl. She's a pirate. She's real cool. Apparently they tie in some characters from the anime they did, which I still haven't seen, so I couldn't tell you.
Same.
I think you can like basically pick anyone to be like your on-screen avatar from your party. So like you can pick Repeat if you want, so you can just run around as a dog.
Oh my god,
it's real good. And there's just like a bunch of new mini games, some new subplots, skits, main game quests, obviously, and side quests. There's new songs. Towns have been remodeled. There's new towns and dungeons and new bosses. And then they added some new stuff to the gameplay, like making new overlimit levels and all that sort of stuff, new mystic arts, all that jazz. And then there's just a bunch of like new costumes as well that they put out along with as like DLC and then like included in the game. So like there's some that are like, oh well, here's a throwback to a previous Tales of game, which yeah, of course you're gonna do that. and then just some other like random kind of like sets they have. Like there's a school set, which is really good. And then Repeat,
with the super bun.
yeah, Yuri gets a good man bun 10 years before the trend was actually a thing. Repeat is just Jotaro.
Jotaro!
Literally just Jotaro.
Jotaro. Like, the hat's the same, the outfit's the same. Literally, he's just Jotaro. And that is, like, the greatest thing I've ever seen.
And there's, like, little, like...
All I needed in life was a dog dressed as Jotaro.
That's true. And, like, they had, like, the little, like, kind of, like, a story attached to, like, each costume. So it's, like, you know, Yuri and Estelle and Rita all go to the same school. Carol goes to the rival school. Patty is like the head of the school's like granddaughter, and then Judith and Raven are like teachers.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all real good.
I joked that that Carol is just Koichi.
Yeah.
Which is great. Yeah, I think Raven is like the science teacher. I think that's right. He's like the weird science teacher,
right.
basically. Which, fitting, but...
And then, like, Flynn's the student council president.
Also fitting.
But the weird one is, like, the costumes that pay homage to previous Bandai or Namco games.
Yes.
So, like...
Yes.
There's a costume for Patty where she becomes Mr. Driller. Repeat becomes the family stadium mascot.
Mm-hmm.
Finally, Al can get Cosmos because Judy dresses up as Cosmos.
I'm so mad.
I told you this, but like there was a point in time where I was really debating like, what if I just take a picture of this costume and send it to you and go, "Hey, I got Cosmos." But you
I would have fought you.
You would have like drove up here and whooped my ass.
And drove back down and been here for work. Definitely would have.
There's a costume for Carol where he becomes Klonoa. Which I think was the one I was like, dude, what the f***? There's a Klonoa costume?
Yeah.
Estelle becomes Valkyrie from The Legend of Valkyrie. Rita becomes Haruka from The Idolmaster. Which is a costume, which I guess like I understand why some of these costumes didn't come out over here because like at the time like the Idolmaster games hadn't come out over here.
Mm-hmm.
So like no one would know what that is. Raven becomes Kazuya from Tekken. And Yuri becomes Mr. Rugi from Soul Calibur. But
and
the main event,
the best one,
which is like the most like so obviously they make Flynn a playable character in this, so he gets a bunch of costumes as well. And when I finally got around to getting him and seeing like what his costumes is, I was like, oh, I wonder what his specific costume is going to be. And then I went down to it, and it was titled Dreaming Pianist. And I was like, huh. And then I looked at it, and I was like, I literally looked at it and just, like, stared aghast at the screen and just literally yelled out, holy
For more context for listeners, I am a huge fan of a little game that we've already talked about once on this, Eternal Sonata, where you play in a JRPG as a very, very pretty anime version of Frederick Chopin.
Yep.
I've been trying to get Jared to play this for ages.
I have it. It's right there.
I sent it to you even because I was like, you're gonna play this game.
I'm gonna get around to it.
So you sent me the screenshot of this because Flynn is dressed as Chopin. And it's great.
Amazing.
It's so good.
Like, I understand that, like, obviously these are all ties back into, like, games that were coming out around 2008, 2009, but, like, holy there's a game in 2019 that is referencing Eternal Sonata.
Yeah.
Like,
which
what
is
the
a 2007 game. I am pleased because the more that game gets recognition, the happier I am.
File that under things I was not expecting to see in this year.
Yeah, I mean, you were like legitimately surprised.
Yeah, absolutely.
I could tell the way you were texting me that like you were shocked.
I literally did not expect that in the slightest.
I mean, I didn't either, but I'm super happy.
I had to get up and look at like the case to be like, did they make this? Is this legitimately what I'm thinking it is? Sure enough.
Yep. I hope he never was out of that outfit.
Well,
besides the fact that they pop him out of it, but like
which
when
is
he
the
was
worst.
in your party. Yeah, that's sucky. I wish that you could have him dressed that way the entire game.
I started him out as the student council president, but like when I got him back, I put him in the Chopin outfit for the rest of the game.
Okay. That's acceptable.
So it's like, here's all these school kids, and then just weird dude.
I mean, it's kind of what the game's like, honestly.
You're not wrong. Everyone just needs to do like the weird arm thing. He should be doing the weird arm thing when he's in that costume.
Wow, it was really, really great. Between that and the Joe Toro costume, it's like, this is wonderful. That and the man bun. That man bun is a good look. Yeah.
So that's Tales of Vesperia. All right, later.
Yeah, that's all we need to talk about. Yep. Costumes.
We just need to talk about Eternal Sonata for a hot second.
Oh, God, I love Eternal Sonata so much. I love that game.
I guess if there is one thing we do have to talk about, and that coincides with it being the definitive edition.
Okay.
And that is the voice actor situation.
Yes, that's not great.
So, for the most part, it seems they got everyone back for like the newer stuff. For the most part. I can't confirm nor deny because I haven't seen like actual like new credits and to see like, well, I've seen credits, but I didn't like see if there's like voice credits and if they did anything about that. But for the most part, it sounds like everyone is their character, or at least they got like a really good sound alike. For the most part. Now,
yeah. With one notable exception.
Now, of course, what we were going to talk about can be kind of classified as like he said, she said, because we've only got one side of the story.
Correct.
And not the other side. So obviously, with there being new stuff in there, they had to bring back the cast to voice some of these new lines, and then obviously Patty got her own character, so she's voiced as well. According to Troy Baker, the original voice of Yuri, he found out that the new lines happened on Twitter and was never told by Bandai Namco about the game, or they never apparently reached out to him to voice those lines. Which
according to him, allegedly.
Which I could like understand on their part. Like, do you think he would have the time or be available, or they could pay him?
Can they afford
him? Now, he's gone on record and said, like, he loves those old JRPG roles because, like, they got him into the business. So, like, they have a special place in his heart for him. But again, this is all just one-sided story. We can't confirm or deny if they ever did reach out to him and, like, maybe his management just never passed the word on, or they just flat out denied immediately, or anything like that. So, but he is not in this game. Well, for the new stuff. He is in this game, but not for the new stuff. They got, the dude who does Shinji from P3 to do it. And apparently, I read this, I didn't, like, I guess look to confirm it, but allegedly they tried to get Matt Mercer to do it, and he was like, no, I don't want to be a Troy Baker sound-alike for the rest of my career.
Yeah, I mean, do you really blame him, though?
No, of course not.
I mean, like, that's how he really got, like, a big start, but he doesn't want to do that for the rest of his life.
And he's branched out on his own now, I think, so, like,
yeah,
he doesn't
definitely.
Need to do that.
He doesn't. And, like, I get why they would do that because it makes sense. He can pull off sounding like him. But I understand, like, Matt Mercer has definitely done way more than just be a sound-alike at this point. And, like, it's... I don't want to say kind of insulting to him as a voice actor, but
I mean, it kind of is.
You know,
yeah.
It kind of is because like he's super talented and he can do a lot of different stuff, and like to be like, well, you know, like, I mean, he's his own voice actor,
right?
He's not Troy Baker. He's Matt Mercer. But I can understand that being frustrating on his part. So it's kind of like a cruddy situation because we don't know like the actual details of it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and we know that like Troy Baker didn't come back. And like you said, it may have been a situation where like they reached out to his management. His manager was like, "Nah, man, like that's not happening." Whereas like if they had talked to Troy himself, he would be like, "Yes, let me do it." Um, but you know, business is weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean like they know, and we both know if they had gone to him and there had not been some kind of like weird discount, there's no way they could have afforded Troy Baker at this level now. There's no way they could have afforded, like, been able to pay him what he goes for.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, they're still not, like, they can't pay those rates.
Right. I mean,
he's an expensive guy.
He's moved on from where he was in 2008 to, like, the top tier of video game voice actors.
Right.
So. But like we said, this is all allegedly, so we can't confirm nor deny any of this. I can't say like the new stuff where they got I forget his name. Let me look it up real quick. But the new stuff they got where Yuri actually speaks, it's fine. Nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, I mean it's not bad. It's just
obviously
very
it's different.
not him.
But yeah, it is clearly not Troy Baker. But that is.
But like he does a really good job of like what he does. I know that a lot of people were real mad about it though. Like a lot of people were very mad about it on the internet. But like, what's new?
People being mad on the internet? What?
What?
Who could have guessed?
So yeah, it's a butt situation.
It's just one of those things where, like you said, I think just business is business, and it
Capitalism
can really make things real cruddy. In terms of this. Grant George is the dude who replaces Troy Baker.
I just found that. I was trying to help you out.
And then
so he doesn't really replace him. He just supplements him.
He's the substitute in.
Yeah. He's the newbie in the scenes, but yeah, I mean it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's a little bit weird the first time that you hear it because you're like, oh, that's a different voice actor, but then otherwise you're like, oh, it still sounds fine. This is cool.
Like maybe the only problem I have with it is that like some of the lines sound like they were voiced in like a tunnel. Or not in tunnel, but like just like the mix on them is kind of funky.
Yeah, and that's potentially like a lot of voice actors do their voice work from home and then send it off.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's potentially just some kind of like weird thing with that.
Right.
So anyway.
And then Patty, the new character, is voiced by Sandy Fox, who does Chibi Usa in the Viz Sailor Moon dub. So she's great.
Yeah.
It just sounds like it just seems like it's Chibi Usa as a pirate, and I'm real for it.
It's basically Chibi Usa as pirate,
and it's real good.
Yeah, I mean the few scenes that I've gotten so far with her have been fantastic.
Especially, it's interesting as well because obviously she was a character added into like the PS3 version, but if you're looking at it pretty much like objectively as like, oh, I only played this the first time, like she doesn't seem like she was just a character that just got thrown into stuff. Like she kind of seems like she was there from the beginning.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like tacked on,
which is surprising but also very well done. So yeah, I think that's most of the stuff that it's taken care of from like the new release. So.
Well, also, it's on the Switch, so that means it can go portable, and that's nice.
It's true. It's everywhere now.
Oh, I know, but I like portability. It's fun.
Put that on the back of the box. Portability. It's fun.
It means that I can lay in bed and also play, and that is key for me.
Portability, thumbs up.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess we should.
Can I be in bed and play this game? Yes. All right. Thumbs up. Anyway.
I guess we should talk about the story.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe. So there's this guy. His name is Yuri Lowell,
It's true.
and he's a swell dude who can make a sandwich.
It's true.
He lives in the lower quarter of it's like the capital city, right?
Correct.
So it's basically like the lower class area.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to think of like the nicest way to say that. And he's kind of like the helper of everybody. Everybody knows him and likes him, and he helps them out. And he has a freaking dog who smokes and is cool as heck.
Heck yeah. The good
Repeat
doggo.
is like, Repeat is so cool. Also, like the fact that Yuri just runs around with his shirt open is hilarious to me. Like, boy, get a button.
It just carries his sword
Jesus.
everywhere. Doesn't
Yeah, he
attempt to like put it on him. He just carries it.
No, he just carries it. He has like strings holding it on. I'm like, what are you doing?
And then every time he gets into a battle, he just throws like the sheath.
He
He's
just
like,
throws
"Whoop,
the sheet.
Get out of here.
That's my favorite thing is he just whoop. Don't need that. It's amazing. So basically, like, we start the game and we find out that the Blastia for the lower quarter, which is essentially like, I'm trying to think of the best way to describe it, like power things in their world.
An ancient civilization's technology with a wide array of capabilities, such as providing water, powering ships, or creating barriers around major cities and towns to protect them from monsters.
All right. It reminds me, in a sense, and like some of this, I have some hot takes that I'm going to say later in the podcast, but we won't.
We'll
get
save
there
that for
yet.
the hot takes section.
Yeah. It reminds me a lot of like materia from Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah.
And that like you can use it for personal abilities, or you can use it for big things, and like it's kind of that same idea. And so I think it's like the water reservoir is what's powered by the Blastia, and it gets stolen, and so there's just like water flooding the lower quarter.
Mm-hmm.
And Yuri's like, "Oh no, son, you can't steal from us. This is sucky."
Sets him off on a quest of unending proportions.
Yeah, no kidding. This is way more than he bargained for.
So yeah, after he basically goes up to like the upper class section of the city and finds where the potential thief is and tries to get them, but then gets arrested afterwards.
Yep.
Lands him in jail along with some shady dude who lets him out.
And gives him some hints.
And then he just runs around the castle for like a long time.
Yeah, as you do.
And then,
as you're
and then
breaking out of
finds
jail.
this girl. And she's
Who's
like,
dressed very fancy.
and she's like, I'm looking for Flynn. He's like, I know him. Why are you looking for him?
We're bros.
Yeah. I'll help you find him. So they escape. Also, she's being chased by people, and he's like, that's weird.
Yeah.
All right, let's get out of here.
All right, cool. It's so funny. He's just like, okay, sure, whatevs.
So they get out of the castle eventually by going through the sewers and fighting some rats, and then they have to leave the capital.
Mm-hmm.
Set off on adventure.
To follow Flynn.
That leads them to finding a young boy by the name of Carol.
With a K.
With a K. He's like a Mortal Kombat character.
He has a big bag.
He does. Also wields big hammers.
Big hammers.
He got separated from his guild, the Hunting Blades, and is trying to find them again. So he joins along with the crew for a while. And then also they eventually run into a young researcher by the name of Rita, because that's who they think stole the Blastia.
The Blastia.
But then it turns out, no, that wasn't the case. So Rita joins the party. And then, yeah, basically, we go around for the first act just collecting people.
Looking for Flynn.
Looking for Flynn.
And the Blastia. Which Yuri knows that, like, Estelle is super upper class.
Mm-hmm.
He actually knows more than he lets on. But basically the whole time he's like, yeah, I used to be a knight with Flynn, but I didn't like that life, so I quit. And, like, he keeps bringing that up over and over and over. So that's how we know Flynn, and where he gives Estelle her nickname, which confuses her at first. And one thing that I want to say while we're talking about, like, early parts of it is that the thing that this game does that's really unique and interesting is that it does the skits.
Yeah.
Because you don't really see that in many JRPGs. Like, you have like optional cutscenes, basically.
It's kind of just like a Tales thing.
Yeah,
But they've made their own.
Yeah. And so it's great. You have the little skits, and I mean, I've only played like 3 Tales games, but to beat 2.
That's right, 2.
And one of them was on Super Nintendo, so does it really count? But yeah, I like it because you get a lot of neat, like, character interactions, like characterizations that you wouldn't really get otherwise. And it's neat that it's not like in an actual cutscene every time. And there's some that are missable. Like, if you go to a certain point before, like, watching one of them, you're not gonna get the one that you missed. But it's more just like them talking and getting to know each other than it is like super important story beats.
Right. I didn't get the first one because I saw it on the screen and I forgot how to activate them. So I was just going around and just completely missed it. And I was like, oh, right, I gotta do this. Big whoops.
Yikes. So those are really, really fun. And I think that it's a nice, unique way of giving, like, character interactions that you wouldn't otherwise get in this. And it makes you care about the characters more.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you go through the game without those, like, the game's fine. And I would still definitely like it. But I like it more, like, knowing how they interact.
Yeah.
Anyway, first half, collecting people.
Collecting people, learning about all the politics of the world.
Well, there are some politics.
You also pick up Raven, who's just a weird dude. He's the weird dude you meet in the prison at the beginning of the game. And then
he keeps giving you hints of stuff of, like, hey, maybe you should try and do this.
And then you also meet Judith. She's a Christian. She's also going around destroying all the Blastia.
Yep.
Because why not?
Well, she has a reason.
She has reasons, yes. So yeah, that's all happening. Along the way, you go to some towns, and there's, like, people who are very evil and running the town into the ground, and you're like, that's not cool.
Or, like, sacrificing children.
It's just they're monsters in their basements. It's very casual.
Yeah, that's not cool.
So you got to put a stop to that, and by put a stop to that, I mean just straight up murder them.
Yep. That's a thing that happens in this game that you also don't usually get from JRPGs, is that the protagonist just straight up murders people.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, doesn't have any kind of remorse on it. Doesn't care. He's like, yeah, that's fine. They deserved it. And, like, there's definitely some moral ambiguity about it. Like, is it okay to murder somebody? But also, like, they've been doing some real shady stuff, so, like, he put an end to it. And you have characters that are like, what do we do about you murdering people? Shrug shoulders.
Big shrugs.
It's fine. Yeah, just murdered some guys.
So yeah, bunch of stuff happens. you learn all about the politics of both like the Empire and the guilds, how they kind of coexist but don't actually coexist at the same time with each other. How different characters are implemented into both of them. And eventually you find Flynn.
Yeah.
You're like, hey, it's my friend. And he's like, Your Highness, what are you doing here? Oh god, we gotta take you back to the Empire. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god.
Oh, by the way, she's the princess.
Yeah.
And Yuri's like, yeah, I knew that.
Everyone else is like, what?
He's like, you didn't figure that out? I figured that out.
I'm smart.
I knew.
I got a dog.
I can make a sandwich. By the way, there's a cooking thing in this game, which is why I keep bringing out the fact that he can make a sandwich. There's a whole menu about cooking.
And there's a dude you can find that gives you recipes who's usually dressed up in like as weird inanimate objects.
Yes, correct. But the first thing that you can make is a sandwich. Which, like, I'm proud of Yuri that he can make a sandwich. Good on you, buddy. One of the people in my but in the Discord server that I'm in was basically saying like Yuri Lowell is a babysitter who can make a sandwich and like keeps adopting children.
It's true.
And I mean, like, they're not wrong.
He adopts children
but
and an old man.
Yeah, and murders people.
Whoops.
As a sweet man bun if you put him in an outfit.
It's true.
Mm-hmm.
He murdered those people
Otherwise,
with that sweet man bun.
Otherwise, he just has the dim out.
He's showing off that cleavage.
Referenced back to Trails of Cold Steel. Turns out they were actually just talking about your.
Yeah, they were talking about their Tales of Vesperia fanfiction.
Mm-hmm. As you do.
Of course. I mean, who doesn't?
Everybody does. Sun's out, boobs out.
Yep.
That's Yuri's life. So where do we go from here?
I don't know. Have we wrapped up where you've gotten to in the game?
I am to the point. Let me start again. To the point where you're dealing with the guild boss.
Okay.
And we know that Carol has proposed making a guild with Yuri, and he is considering it.
So eventually they make a guild.
They do make a guild.
They call it Brave Vesperia.
Wow, I'm shocked.
It's true. Also, at some point, Patty comes up, joins your party. She meets you the first time. She gives you a replicated doll of her, which is really good. And she joins up because she apparently has no memories, and she's looking for treasure and information about her grandpa, who's this famous pirate named Ifrid.
Ah.
Also, she can steer a boat, so that's why they keep her around.
Ah, yeah. Okay, that's a good skill to have.
It's true.
Especially when you're adventuring.
It's true. Eventually, some stuff happens. Things between the Union and the Empire kind of start to go bad because of people are trying to manipulate things. Estelle finds out she has some power called the Child of the Full Moon, which everyone kind of realizes because she doesn't need to use Blastia to use magic.
Yes, and that's like a thing in the first part of it. I was like,
Because she can just heal people like willy-nilly.
And she tries to like pretend that that she's using a Blastia for a while, and then they're like, yeah, you don't have to do that. We know that you're faking it, man.
So she learns about this and is also told that she's a poison to the earth.
Man, that's a bummer.
It's a real big bummer. Because apparently, like, the way she does things, like, it uses a lot of air, which they title, or they spell AER, in the world, and if she keeps doing that, there's a chance that she will bring back this catastrophic calamity disaster called the Autophagos, which would destroy the planet.
Dun dun dun.
So she gets told that, and is like in a spiral of like, oh god, what do I do? And it gets real sad. But eventually she's like, all right, well, I need to meet the thing that told me this, which is this being by the name of Pharaoh, who is called an Entelekea. And the Entelekea are like the beings who kind of first made the world, essentially. They're like an ancient race, an ancient civilization, and they look like giant bird dragon things. I don't know. Stuff like that. Judith at one point is hanging around with one of the Entelekea. She has like this dude, or not dude, but like she has a friend named Baul. She rides on him, and that's how she was going around destroying Blastia. Because at first you see her, and she's like all masked up and covered up, so you don't know it's her, and she's just like going around destroying Blastia, and Rita like hates her. Hates like, oh, this dragon freak rider, I hate her, I want to kill her. And then Judy, when she joins up with you, like Yuri's like, hey, kind of maybe don't tell anyone about what you're doing, because that might be bad.
Yeah.
Of course, eventually, like the secret comes out, and Rita's like, you jerk. And that happens. In between here, Yuri's gonna murder another dude. Because there's a captain in the Knights of the Empire who's abusing his power. His name is Kimore. And he's basically just like doing whatever he wants all willy-nilly, abusing his power and all that, making people suffer by going out into like the desert and like forcing them to go out there. So basically Yuri's like, well, I'm just going to wait till nightfall, wait till this dude's alone, and then just straight up just let him fall off a thing and drown in sand.
Yay.
And then like Flynn's also there. He's like, hey buddy, what are you doing? Why you killing people? That ain't good.
Yeah, maybe don't do that.
So we get into this like huge philosophical, ideological debate between Flynn and Yuri about like, oh, we joined the Knights to change things because we knew things were bad, and we're gonna do it eventually. And then Yuri's like, yeah, we did say that. Also, you're in the Knights, and nothing has changed. So I'm gonna do things my way, and whatever happens, happens, because this is the only way I know how to do things.
Mm-hmm.
So that happens. A bunch more stuff happens.
Yep.
Go through the sands. You finally meet Pharaoh, and he's just like, hey, you humans are messing things up. Stop that. And they convince him to be like, hey, maybe don't try and kill Estelle. And he's like, okay, well, you guys have to try and figure out a way to stop this from all happening. If not, then she gets hit. At one point you go to a ghost town, which is like in the past, and you meet this shady dude named Duke, who you've met before, but like he's there, and you're just like, how are you guys here? You shouldn't be here. What? He's very anti-social and just like very mysterious. But we'll come back to him later at some point. You go on a ghost ship at one point too.
Nice.
Which is very strange.
Mm-hmm. I've always wanted to go on a real ghost ship.
Really?
Yeah.
All right.
It looks so cool in Wind Waker.
So all that happens. And then like some other stuff happens that is, stuff happens. Eventually you're just hanging out in a town, and Estelle's still kind of not doing great because she's had all this stuff thrown at her and she doesn't know what to do with it. She just goes missing, along with Raven. And everyone's like,
wow, I wonder what could have happened.
This is strange. Why are they not here? Where did they go? Where'd they go?
They're boning.
No, that's not it.
I know. That is actually not at all what happened.
Nope.
But wow. The thing that does happen is that she's been kidnapped. Woo!
So we learned that Raven is actually a part of the Knights, and is basically a dude that has been referenced throughout the game but never seen, and now he's here. Also, like, the big knight in charge, Alexei, is like the guy who's been pulling the strings and doing bad stuff this entire time.
Yep.
And he's going to use Estelle's power to basically try and gain control of the Empire and also the world. Because that's what you do.
As you do when you are a JRPG villain.
Mm-hmm. So they have to fight Raven at one point, and they reveal that, like, he doesn't have a heart. He has a Blastia in his heart because of things that happened during the big war that happened, like, 10 years ago between humans and the Interlocala.
The Great War or something.
They do!
Yep. As you do.
So, like, he fights them, and then, like, the room they're in is going to fall, and so he tries to sacrifice himself to save everyone. And then eventually comes back, though, because you can't kill off an old man.
It's true. He's not that old, is he?
I don't think so, but he always calls himself old man.
I wonder how old he is. I'm going to try and Google it. Like, keep talking.
So basically, he's like, oh, the Schwann dude's dead. Now I'm just Raven for goods. For goods. At some point, Duke gives you his sword, which is called De Nomos, which is also like this treasure that if you find it, you become like the Emperor.
Oh my god, he's 35.
Clearly an old man.
Ugh.
But also it has like powers that can like manipulate how the air works and everything. So like it has some good powers in that sense. And then you use it to go take on Alexei as he brought up this old shrine and also a weapon, and is going to try and use it to super gain power.
Mm-hmm.
And then you fight him and you beat him. And you're like, yay, we did it! Except the Autophago shows up and is like, hello!
I'm here!
I'm here! And then all the while, Yuri gets shanked. And falls off the giant shrine weapon into the ocean. Everyone thinks he's dead. Duke saves him. He's like, yeah, I saved you, but I just kind of wanted this sword, so, you know, it is what it is. Anyways, later.
Yeah.
But he reunites with everyone. Everyone's like, why didn't you tell us you were back? And it's like, guys, I just woke up like 5 minutes ago. I couldn't really tell you.
Calm down.
Until just now. So essentially, basically, Rita is trying to come up with a way to basically solve their problem of all the air being kind of in an imbalance and everything. And she comes up with an idea to basically turn all these they call them, like, when an Entoclea dies, it becomes like an Apatheia, and an Apatheia is basically what they make Blastia out of. So she's trying to use all these Apatheia to create a formula that negates the powers of Estelle, so where she can like live normally. And inadvertently, they basically make an evolution for the Entoclea called spirits. So they get like new powers, and that's how they're going to try and stop the bad stuff from happening. Also, like, this new air is going to be called mana. It's like, okay. Okay. And then some of the spirits just become like Final Fantasy characters.
Yeah. So this is where I'm gonna get hot takey, if you will let me.
No, not allowed.
Rude. So, as I've mentioned with the whole Blastia thing, reminding me of Materia.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of this game reminds me of Final Fantasy VII in the sense that you kind of have like, this like weird biological, like, earth-destroying thing going on. It's kind of like you have like the superpowered girl who's connected to it somehow.
White-haired antagonist.
Yeah, like it's there's some similarities. I like Vesperia better though.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. So that's my hot take.
I mean, they spell Efreet, E-F-R-E-T though, and that's, come on. Come on.
I don't know. It's just like an interesting take on it. And I guess I like the world better. Like the weird like I like colors. Really, that's all it is.
Colors are nice.
Yeah, I mean, like, Final Fantasy VII's fine, but it's very like gritty and and like I like the game, and I've said that I like the game many times. Talked about it before, but like this one has very similar story beats. But it's like colorful and has a lot of really good characterization, and that's like a lot of what Final Fantasy VII does lack is that you don't get as much characterization in those characters that are apparently super duper iconic.
Right.
So anyway, that's my hot take. I'm done. But hey, they don't kill Estelle.
They don't. They get her back, and she's like, "Hey, what's up?"
She doesn't get stabbed.
So basically, after this, we learned that like Duke is now trying to find his own way to defeat the Autophagos, and he's like, "What if I sacrifice all of humanity?"
Yeah. Whee!
Because he doesn't like humans. They let his Inalakea friend die, and he's like, "I don't like humans anymore. They're poop."
All right, Sephiroth.
I mean, he doesn't have a good theme like Sephiroth, or throw materia at anyone.
Or throw materia with the bop. Yeah,
Bop.
he doesn't do that. So, man, watching that on super speed was hilarious. So that's true. He doesn't have those things, but still, it's kind of the whole like, I'm going to destroy mankind because they did something bad to some other being that I don't really know about that much. So
eventually, like the brave Vesperia has to come up with a plan, and they're like, "What if we just take all the Blastia and make them all into spirits, and use that to fight the Autophagos?" And they're like, "Okay, we gotta do that, but also we have to convince everyone to give up their Blastia."
Yeah,
which is gonna be a bit tough. So they basically get the Empire and the Union all together at this little like makeshift town that they build on one of like the continents, and that's kind of how they set their plan in motion. Before we get to that, though, let's talk about Patty. Pirate Chibi.
All right, Patty.
Like I talked about earlier, she has no memories. She has amnesia. She's trying to find her grandpa.
The Pirate Man.
The Pirate Man. All throughout, we basically kind of start learning more about what happened. We learned that, like, this dude, Ifrid, was apparently not well liked by people. Apparently was a part of, like, this big massacre that happened.
Ooh, that's balls.
And also, there's not a lot of references about him. So she's also trying to find some treasure to help push her to finding information about this. And she finds one at like one of the latter half dungeons, and she's like, "All right, well, I have this now. Maybe that'll happen. Something will happen from this." Basically, near the end of the game, you start going back to like all the towns and everything. And one night, she just kind of dips out of the hotel you're staying in, and everyone's like, "That's strange. Why did she leave at the middle of the night? Where is she going?" So you kind of follow her to.
Do not let small children wander by themselves.
She goes to this dock and like holds up the thing that she found, and like crazy stuff happens, and it brings the ghost ship to where they are.
Nice.
And on the ghost ship, you fought like this giant skeleton like monster, and that's how you got one of the first like Apatheia. Here, the skeleton monster comes back, and you have to fight it. But Patty refers to it as Cypher, who is apparently Ifrid's like right-hand man.
Ooh.
And then she reveals, "Hey, I'm Ifrid."
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Whoa! I was not expecting that.
Me either.
Wow.
Everyone's like, "Excuse me, what? What?
So
What?"
What do you do with that information?
She's like, they actually bring it up at one point. They're like, you could, since you know everything, you could go, and she gets her memories back, obviously, but like, you could go around and tell people, like, right the wrongs that have been told about your story. And she's like, I mean, I could, but like, look, people already know the legends that they know. They're probably not going to be easily swayed. And like, hey, if you guys know it, that's fine by me.
Wow.
Also, like, there's a cutscene at the end where like she's just like standing on like some like thing and like the makeshift town they make, and Flynn goes up to talk to her, and she's like, "Hey, I'm Ifreed," and he's like, he no sells that entire thing. He's like, "Oh yeah, okay." I was like, "Dude, come on, you gotta react a little bit more." It's just funny as well because all the time she's just like acting like her and Yuri are gonna fall madly in love with each other.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also, she is like the sassiest character, and it is the best.
Oh, I love sassy characters. I also love that, like, one of the first times that you, like, get introduced to her, Yuri, like, catches her,
Mm-hmm.
and then just drops her immediately. Like, wow, Yuri. Good job, buddy. On purpose, let me clarify.
Yes.
He purposefully drops her. It's not like ooh, I caught this child and I'm going to drop her now because I wasn't expecting it. Like, no, he catches her steady and then drops. Oh, man. What a twist.
Yeah, it's really good. She like I said, she's really like well written and implemented into the game, so I'm glad she gets her full arc kind of executed before the end of the game. But basically the end of the game is you gotta go fight Duke and convince him that his idea is wrong. Like, hey, maybe don't sacrifice all of humanity. That's not great.
Yeah, it's not the best idea.
And then you fight him, and then you fight him again because final bosses. And then you have to combine all the Spirit's powers and all of the Blastia to try and take down the Autophagos. And then it doesn't work, and then Duke's like, hey, I'll join you, buddy. And then you do it, and then you, like, make a giant energy sword and cut through the giant squid monster, and that's it. You don't even fight the thing. You just cut through it, and then that's it. That's the end of the game.
Again, like Final Fantasy VII, you don't actually have to really do anything to fight Sephiroth at the very end.
I mean, at least there's a battle there.
Yeah, ish. I mean, like, it's scripted.
Yeah, fair.
Unrelated, but just on a quick note, my wallpaper changes every 5 minutes, and my wallpaper just changed to Mike Hagar pile driving a shark.
Good.
Yeah, so I thought you would appreciate that. Anyway, continue.
Yeah, that's Tales of Vesperia.
Yeah. It's a good game, and one of the things that I guess was, I don't want to say it was different at the time, but it touted as like a feature was the battle system.
Mm-hmm.
Because it has the battle system where like you can move around and you can like do all kinds of different moves, and so like it was trying to be unique in a world of JRPGs, so it's cool.
It's the Tales thing.
Yeah,
It's a Tales game that plays like a
definitely.
Tales game.
It is, but I'm just saying, like, it was a big thing that they put on, like, even the box. So, like, this is how the battle system works. It's exciting.
Which, I mean, I think that makes sense, though, because, you know, putting it out on 360 and the 360 being the popular console of the time, like, I don't necessarily know that the crossover for JRPG audiences with 360 owners was necessarily as high as it was, you know, for the PS3. So, probably for a lot of people, this would have been their first Tales game, and you know, it makes sense to kind of market the way the battle system is on the box to be like, hey, this isn't like a traditional turn-based game.
This ain't your mama's RPG.
This is an action RPG.
Oh my
We put
God.
the A in action.
Oh my God.
But
It's a really fun game, though.
It is.
Really is. And I've been really enjoying playing the definitive edition, even if I have not beat it.
yeah, like everything about the definitive edition seems really good. Like we both have the Switch version, so we can't necessarily talk about the other versions, but like it runs really well. It looks basically what you remember it looking like, so that's always good. So yeah,
Looks fine, undocked as well.
yeah, so like it does a really good job of just being a well-made re-release.
Tales of Vesperia.
Yeah, being Tales of Vesperia.
And we get the new content. I'm excited about the whole Patty thing. That's a good twist.
It's really good.
Nice.
So there you go. That's Tales of Vesperia.
They basically like don't they continue the guild like after they kill a squid man? Am I remembering that properly?
I guess like there really isn't much after once that happens. Like there's the credits sequence which has like these little images that pop throughout, but like really there isn't like any post credit scene. Well, there is one, but it's like Duke's just like, I like animals. He's hanging out with some animals, and that's basically it.
Yeah. All right, maybe I'm remembering it differently than what actually
I think it's like kind of implied, but like I said, there's nothing like just like outright says like, "Hey, this happens."
Yeah, there's no like epilogue.
Right.
Okay.
Tales of Vesperia is good.
It's good. It's a good game. Good game.
Definitely if you haven't played it before, like the definitive edition is a great way to check it out.
Yeah, totally. And now I gotta get you to finish Eternal.
Never heard of that game.
Fight me.
That'll happen eventually, but like, you know, things.
Yeah. Things and stuff.
All right, well, that's gonna wrap this episode up then. If you'd like more from us, go to seasonalcheckup.com or scc.cool. It's where you can find past episodes of this podcast and other podcasts like the Season Language Checkup and Jared and I Watch. Had to remember which podcast I say there. You can find columns and reviews on the site as well. If you want more from Ann Ladium, go to annladium.com. She has columns and reviews. You can follow us on Twitter, twitter.com/animecheckup. So we do Twitter, and you can support us on Patreon, patreon.com/SACOVA. Next time, we will do stuff.
I had an idea, but now I don't remember. So.
Well, hopefully, in the next week, you will be able to remember.
Yeah. We'll figure it out.
But if not, yeah, we'll find something else. Like we usually do.
Yeah.
Because we're good like that.
Yeah, totally. We're the best.
It's true.
I'm not being sarcastic, honestly. It sounded sarcastic, but I wasn't being sarcastic. We're legitimately the best.
Yeah, that's right.
I adore us.
Put it on the back of our box. We're the best.
We're the best.
All right, go play Tales of Vesperia.
Yeah.